In 1998 I had 2 falls at home in the space of about 3 or 4 days. The second fall I had to be rushed to hospital in an ambulance, an emergency. It actually took an hour for the ambulance to arrive. To cut a long story short, I was diagnosed with a fractured neck of femur, and the following day I was transferred to another hospital in Bury, and I had an emergency operation to fix my fracture, and I had a dynamic hip screw inserted into my hip. Following that, I was off work for about nearly 6 months. My doctor was concerned why a young lad, but then I was 47, how come they had fractured their neck of femur, and he recommended a DEXA scan. And a short while afterwards I had the scan and was diagnosed with osteoporosis in my hip, my neck of femur, and osteopenia in my spine. I was quite upset when I found out I had osteoporosis. I knew what it was, but there were changes. I'm very, very conscious never to fall. I always wear shoes in the house. I don't wear slippers. I'm very wary going out in the winter when it's icy, when it's snowy. I go to the gym on a regular basis, but over a period of time I'm not able to walk as fast as I could because I get pain in my hip. I can't run. I can't take the dogs for fast walks. I can't run with the dogs. I can't do heavy lifting, and I can't do as many things in the garden as I'd like to do. I've got to be careful when I drive sometimes. I don't like to be in jams because my hip can be a bit sore. So that's how it affects me. I don't like to sit down for too long because my leg gets a little bit stiff. So there are things which does affect me, but I can cope with that most of the time. What I do nowadays is I do about a few minutes on the treadmill, not fast, because I can't do a lot of weight bearing exercise. And then I do like leg presses, and then I do things for my calves and my hips. And then I do half an hour on the bike where I do push myself to quite an extreme. My heart rate goes to about 185 and I'm quite shattered afterwards. Well, that helps to keep me fit. Never smoked. Drank small quantities of alcohol. So I used to do a lot of exercise, used to run a lot at one time. So for me it was surprising that I had osteoporosis. I wasn't the typical candidate, though being a bit on the thinner side, you're more vulnerable to actually fracturing bones if you have a fall because you don't have as much padding. And that's also one of the reasons why I go to the gym. It strengthens my muscles, they're more bulky around my legs, particularly the top part of my legs, so it gives a bit more cushioning should I ever have another fall. There are about 10 meetings a year of our local NOS support society. We often have medical specialists, sometimes they're osteoporosis specialists, nurse specialists, fracture nurse specialists, sometimes they're more like socials when there's just a talk. And people talk about their own health issues, osteoporosis. There are some people who have a lot of spinal problems that I don't as such, and they learn from it. We become a lot more knowledgeable through the meetings because GPs don't give you a lot of information. So for me, I know a lot about osteoporosis. I can help anybody if anybody wants to come and speak to me. It's just having that knowledge. I think people need to change their lifestyles. They need to ensure that they get sufficient calcium. They need to ensure they get sufficient sunlight in the summer. If they have a fracture, it's important that the hospital assess that fracture to see whether it could be a result of osteoporosis.